All right, guys, welcome to another edition of A Beautiful Panel with Beautiful People, right? We're rocking today with the Profit Share panel, leaning into some of those who have made more in profit share than they've earned in their within what they pay into their cap on a given basis. So essentially what it is KW is paying these guys for what it is that they do and how it is that they influence in the market. And the goal today is to give you guys tangible, actionable items for you to take advantage of the passive wealth building opportunity through profit share. So we're going to go quick hitting, fast paced to respect everybody's time. And I'm going to give you a little bit of an introduction as to who we're dealing with and talking with. Not that these guys need much of an introduction. But first up, Jay Schmidt. For perspective, guys, Jay has 153 people in his downline. Only 22 people have named him as their actual sponsors. So it shows you that he's had 22 people that have been active and engaged in the profit share opportunity. Lifetime, he's made over 130,000 in profit share alone. Last year, he made 30,000. And of his total lifetime earnings, roughly 25% of it came back to him last year alone. So you can see how this thing builds really quickly. Jay, I'll start with you. You know, it took you a few years. You've kind of been to KW since day one. And I was looking through your profit share reports, and it took you a few years before you really glommed onto the opportunity of what is profit share. What motivated you to want to take advantage of the opportunity and really kind of make this an intentional piece of your business?
I think, I wasn't paying attention to it, was listening at family reunion and mega camp and hearing the opportunity out there. I needed to learn the scripts. So just listen to a couple of panels about building profit share and just learn the way to talk about it and not oversell it. Talk about it, make the introduction to my team leader and not say move on, but let them really talk the talk.
Totally. So you're the conduit of influence to the relationship. And I mean, for a lot of it, because for years, it's been you and I working this thing together. It's been you saying, hey, what do you know about this person? Can you give me their production statistics? I'd like to just create a soft intro. And Jay creates the soft intro and he lobs it over to me. And we kind of then tag team it. And I then toss it back to him to say, hey, Jay, here's what we talked about. These are some of the things you could follow up on. And we work together as a team because my job or Mandy's job or Deej's job or Josh's job is to help him build his passive wealth through the opportunity of profit share. Cool. All right, Janine, I'm flipping it over to you. Quick introduction about Janine. Janine, very similar to Jay, been here since day one, only really started taking advantage of the profit share opportunity in the last couple of years. For perspective on Janine, she has 48 people in her tree. She has almost as many as Jay. She has 18 people in line one. Jay had 22 people in line one, right? Lifetime, she's made $70,000 in profit share. The majority of it has come back to her in the last 3 years. Last year alone, she made $22,000, which was 31% of her total lifetime total, or 31% of her total that she's ever earned in profit share she made last year. So J9, what was it about you? What really motivated you to want to get involved in saying, holy shit, these guys are paying out millions of dollars a year. I want to get my unfair share of that pot.
I can tell you exactly the moment. I'm on the ALC committee and we had one session about really focusing on our downline. And I didn't really even quite understand how it worked, but I named a list of people that I was going to go after and I got them. It's all about being extremely intentional and then letting you and Mandy do your job and basically being bold and saying to these prospective agents, when you meet with Charlie and Mandy, I want to make sure that you, if you're going to join, to put my name down that I sponsored you. Plain and simple. And then I let you guys do your job.
Yeah. And I think the key that you're hearing from Janine is very similar that we talked about with Jay, is they looked at a list of people that they loved doing deals with or had phenomenal interactions with that they think would be value adds to our culture and community. And they were intentional. They didn't say, hey, I want to go add 10 people right away. They say, okay, I'm going to focus on this 1, 2, or 3 people, and I'm just going to work and drip on those 2 or 3 people because the opportunity of profit share takes time, right? And very much, I've seen the approach that Jay and Janine take. They're not selling anybody on anything if they don't believe it's a good fit culturally, first of all. And second of all, if they don't actually believe and fervently believe that the business model can help them change their life in terms of the direction or correlation of their business. All right, KG, quick introduction for you. KG, actually most recently he's probably the one person in our world that has really taken advantage of it in the last probably 18 months, really since COVID happened. KG has 25 people in his downline. Almost all of them have named him within his first line. He's taken a little bit of a different approach of helping people understand the opportunity of building a career worth having through the vehicle of real estate. So he's been intentional about, finding people in the hospitality industry, the service industry, and helping them realize it, and then being a really good mentor to them to help them get into productivity. Because the only way that he earns money through profit share is through when agents are productive, right? So he's very intentional about helping people and being a guiding light to them through transactions. Lifetime, he's made $32,000 in his profit share tree. And last year, he earned 50% of that alone in the last year, $16,000 back to him and his wife, Stephanie. KG, what was the light bulb that went off in your head of like, holy shit, I need to take advantage of this opportunity?
There's a few, this does a couple things for me that checks my boxes. One, it puts you in a position to change lives. That's big for me. I like to, be instrumental and just changing lives. And if you can get financially rewarded for that as well, then that's a double win, right? I thought about, when I retire and I sell my last house, this is a great way to have money that could potentially keep coming in if I grow this over the next 15, 20 years. I'm purposeful about it. I look at it, I have it set up as a business plan. I want to meet a certain amount of people per week. So just another retirement instrument and be in a position to help others. Because I think it's a sad thing when you see great people fail at this business, and it's usually because they're at the wrong place. And that's sad to see.
Yeah, totally. So Jay, I'll flip it back to you. You talked a little bit about that initial conversation, right? And, you're doing so many deals that you do in a given year, you have lots of interactions with different folks. How do you what's your mindset, or how do you kind of approach that initial conversation when you're kind of looking to dig deeper with someone about the opportunity at KW?
It's really, if it's early in the transaction where someone catches my attention, I'll use an agent that is in my downline, not in our market center. Met him in a transaction, was really impressed with him right out of the gates. It was a high-end luxury home. This guy showed up engaged, someone I didn't know that was in the luxury market. Typically you think the agents. Long story short, I had a great conversation with him as we were waiting for his buyers to show up. Liked him, came back, asked you guys to run the numbers on him, and then just started from the point of kind of to Kevin's point. How are you doing in business? You're newer to the business. How is it going? And they always say, oh, it's good. And then kind of had a couple of little concerns, and then said, well, what do you think about KW? I said, it's changed my life. And that's really kind of where I leave it. I don't do the huge sell. I said, it's changed my life. It's changed my family's life. And then through the course of the transactions, buyers wrote the offer, just use the right opportunities to ask, hey, would you want to talk more about Keller Williams with my team leader? And he was at a brokerage, independent, cutting edge tech cloud, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah, I don't have any sort of community or training or education. I said, oh my gosh, that's exactly what Keller Williams is about. Made the introduction to you. He ended up signing up down at the Southwest office, but still named me. And that's part of it too, where I just trust the process that the team leaders are going to do what's right, talk to the right candidates. And it was an easy conversation. And he's killing it at KW, and then brought on someone under him.
It's so funny. I know exactly who you're referring to. And the best part about it, guys, Jay just asked 2 or 3 questions. He didn't really sell the guy on it. He didn't really, and all he did to me is he said, hey, Charlie, let's just use Joe Smith. Joe Smith is at X and H brokerage. It sounds like he has his pain points of he feels like on his island. He feels like he's on an island. There's not a ton of support, and he's a little bit of a boat without a rudder in terms of where his business could go, and he could use a blueprint. And we literally sat down for an hour. I just touched on those 3 points from the nuggets that Jay provided me. And boom, it was like, easy peasy lemon squeezy, because it's just understanding where people are and where they want to go and how we help them fill the gap is essentially the conversation. J9, how about you? Yeah, go ahead, Jay.
I'll say in the beginning, when I was trying to bring people on, I would oversell it. And for me, it's numbers and commission splits. And, I remember Janine and I sat down with an agent in another brokerage and showed her, if you sold what you sold last year, you would have made 68 grand more at KW. And her response was, oh, but I love my friends at my brokerage. We put way too much time into someone who was not looking to be a business owner. So Janine and I both kind of quickly realized there are great agents who would do great at KW, but if they aren't looking to own and drive their business, it's not a culture fit. So we don't try to tell them what the reasons why we came to KW and why we love KW. It's to hear what are their needs and, kind of show what KW can do to fulfill those needs.
Well, and having seen you and Janine in action and the evolution of you guys in action in this, to your point, you were in the beginning, you were very much, and I was the same way when I was a team leader, right? Like very much sell. And now it's much more of, okay, if I can do in a conversation with someone, if I can listen 80% of the time and they talk 80% of the time, and I only pick the 20% of the time I talk is the questions and things, and I'm gathering information, is then how we can, that is how, where are they and where are they going? That's how we help fill the gap. And that's where you have effective conversations to help people change their business and trajectory.
Yep.
J9, how about you?
Yeah, on that note, I look at it more of, and just in business in itself, relational versus transactional. So I love what you said about listening 80% of the time, because during a transaction, I'm listening to what that agent is saying on the other end about her or his business. And they're always flabbergasted with our systems and models and our communication. And it really is a great segue then to say, well, how does your business work? And how do you have backup? What does that look like? And what does your team meeting look like? And really coming from just questions about what they're all about, then it lends itself to them asking me questions, and it's never a sell. Then you ask them to join a team meeting, and I'll meet you in the lobby. Why don't you come and sit with me at the team meeting? Or if you prefer, let's give you a Zoom invite and you can do it anonymously. If it's someone we think would be a great fit for our team, come to our JSG team meeting. So it's more really intentional to the person versus, I need to recruit 10 people. I'm constantly looking at my relationship with that co-broke and making that a part of my yearly business plan.
Yeah, and I think what I love what you said is it's relational, not transactional.
Exactly.
And here's the truth, guys. We live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. There's this thing called Midwest Nice. If you ask someone enough about them, they'll ask you enough about you. And there you will open the opportunity for you to talk about the opportunity or your business or where it is that you are and where it is that you plan to go and your partnership with KW. Like that's a natural inherent in Midwestern people. And so if you talk enough about Janine's going to want to know more about me, and the dialogue goes back and forth really smoothly. And then that's where, because if you're good listeners, right, you have 2 ears, 1 mouth, use them proportionately, you'll be able to pick up on what is their needs analysis. And to Jay's point, he picked up on a few nuggets of some of the pain points where the agent was and feeling as if there were some hurdles in their business to get to where they want to go, for us to use it effectively in helping them see new opportunities. KG, how about you? How do you start that initial conversation and how do you create that dialogue?
Yeah, I would mirror that, especially with co-brokes. Ask questions and listen. The more questions you ask, the better. I like to lead off with, tell me about your business this year. I have to have an interest in them first, obviously. And I was tell me about your business year. How's it going? A real big one where you can figure things out. Say, what are your goals this year? You'll be surprised how many people do not have goals set. And if they don't have goals set, that means something's missing in their culture and their training and support, right? I can guarantee you they never heard of a 135 or a 411. So, asking question about business, what's your culture like? And then you listen to it and you diagnose what they're missing. And I'll be like, what would it look like if you had a culture like this? And then I describe our culture. How would that be for you? And just ask questions, diagnose it, and reply with what they could have.
Totally. And I think the key to it, what you're hearing across all three of these, both KG, Jay, and Janine, is like, you have to make it about them, because the value proposition across KW is vast, right? It's far and wide, and you have to identify what is it that's most important to this individual, because in a move for them, it's all about what's in it for them. And if you help them get to where they want to go, you will ultimately get what you desire, which is the opportunity through profit share, right? So Jay, let me go back to you. Right, you've had lots of conversations and dialogue with people for many years about this opportunity. What are some of the most common objections you hear, and kind of some of the things and ways in which that you overcome through these conversations?
I like my brokerage. I like the agents in the office that I work with. I hear it's a puppy mill over there. And the KW profit share, no longer do people, I don't get it as much about the pyramid scheme. But those are the typical, it's many different objections to the same thing. They're complacent, and change is hard, and change is nerve-wracking. So they'll give you 6 different reasons, but ultimately what the core reason is, the thought of change is scary.
Totally.
So, that's really many different objections rolled into one true reason.
And remember, guys, when you're seeking this opportunity of profit share, there's no yes, I will move, without the how does it work? And it's not anything that you have to describe or articulate. That's our team's job, right? And so, to Jay's point, it's helping remove fears and objections around the unknown is ultimately the reason why we don't get people to say yes. And that takes time, right? And helping them see that opportunity. Because to Jay's point, he's totally right. Like, I think that was the easy objection in the beginning. Oh, it's a pyramid scheme, like this, that, and the other. And now, oh, by the way, we profit shared 3.7 million last year. It actually went to real agents. That you don't hear those objections as much as you used to, for sure. J9, how about you? What are some of the things that you overcome with?
I think the first thing would be fear of the unknown. They're happy where they're at, so there isn't really, for some, motivation. And I think for some brokerages, they have, like Jay said, a lot of friends there. They become a family. Another one that I hear is they have such a great support staff behind them that does everything for them. And the conception of you're completely rogue and completely on your own at KW without any support scares agents that have had a lot of administrative support, and they don't think they can get it over here, which we know that isn't the case. So I think number one would be fear. And that's when you educate them, have them meet with the team leader, invite them to a meeting, kind of like if you're going on a listing appointment, set aside their objections and then address that as best as you can, but ultimately get them in front of you guys so you can do your job.
Totally.
I would agree with Janine about the inviting them to a Tuesday team meeting. Yeah. There is no brokerage in the entire state of Wisconsin that has the power that leadership brings to those Tuesday meetings. Yes. And if someone comes to a Tuesday meeting, walks out the door and goes, yeah, that's not my brokerage. Great. We saved everybody a lot of time and energy. Because if you don't walk out of a Tuesday meeting fired up to be in real estate at KW, go hang up your shoelaces somewhere else.
Yeah, totally. I think too, guys, one of the things I'll help you think through is from an objection handler standpoint. Listen, everybody loves their broker and everybody loves the people they're surrounded with. Every community, every brokerage has great people. And it's also helping them identify, in our world, what's somewhat different from most other brokerages. A lot of brokerages, their leadership teams are jack of all trades, right? In our world, we have very specified roles and responsibilities. So if you have tech and marketing questions, great. We got Wooten and we got Lindsay Vranick. Great. You have anything as it relates to, systems, processes, things like that. Great. That's why Britton and Sydney are here. If you have to call me to ask a question about a contract, I'm going to refer you to Joan and Steph because I don't have my license, right? And so in most worlds, most of the managers or office managers or brokers or whatever are a jack of all trades, and it's helping them understand that we have very specified roles within our leadership team to serve our associates at the highest level. KG, what about you? What are some of the objections you've seen and how you've overcome them?
Real quick, Tuesday meeting, 100%. I hope whoever's listening, you guys want to get back in person. I remember when I first started going there, it was standing room only, pre-COVID. It's a magical place there. I remember bringing 2 ladies there from a different brokerage, and I just watched their mouths open as they watched our meeting. I was like, well, how did you like it at the end? And she was like, well, it's very different than what we do. I'm like, oh gosh, what do you guys do? I was like, well, what do you do? She's like, well, we usually argue the whole hour. I was like, about what? So totally, and they get to see the cast of characters, who they're going to be working with. They can put an eye on it. So Tuesday meetings are invaluable for sure. But as far as objections, you get, like Jay said, well, I like where I'm at, which really means I'm comfortable. I don't want to, it's like pulling a Band-Aid, people. Let's go. Transition team's ready to go. And I have a similar story. I liked my brokerage too. When I was at Realty Dynamics, I was good friends with Mike Larson and Ben Golke and those guys. And then what I tell them is, what, I had a great relationship there too, but I knew if I wanted to take my business where it needed to go, I needed to be at KW. And I said, what, I just had lunch with those guys last week, and I still have lunch with them every now and then. I'm hoping to flip them one day, as you know, Charlie. But, it doesn't mean you lose I want them to know you don't lose a relationship with somebody that you're working with just because you go somewhere else. So I do notice from last year to this year, I hear less of those objections, and I think it's because we're gaining market share, and Keller Williams is becoming such a more of a household name, and we have more agents, so it's a much easier conversation this year than it was just last year.
And I'll bring something up too. I think, I can't remember if it was Jay or Janine who mentioned this, or maybe it was you, Kevin. There's the easy misconception because of our size that, KW is a puppy mill of this, that, and the other. Well, let me flip the script on that. Economies of scale are important for a variety of reasons. And I'll just go into one reason why it's really vitally important for you as an agent. And here's why economies of scale are important. In a tight market where inventory is down and you're having a really tough time to get buyers into homes or getting accepted offers, the power of information is vitally important, and the access to that information allows you to put your clients one step ahead of the competition because of our market share and because of the access of information that you have available to you. And I'll tell you, there was an agent who joined us from another brokerage a couple of years ago, and we were competing with a different brokerage for the same agent's partnership and trust. And the other brokerage we were competing with offered to write a big check. And we don't do that. It's everybody here is treated in equal value, right? And the agent ultimately chose us. And I said to this person, I said, hey, why didn't you go to the other place that was offering you a big check, just out of curiosity? And he said, listen, I see where the market's going, and it's really hard right now. It's definitely a seller's market. And the access to the information that is offered here because of our market share and our scale is way more valuable to me than a check that doesn't help me gain more business or get my clients into homes faster. And that was the entire reason why I moved, because I looked at the macro decision of what it would do for my business. And it's just another talking point for you guys as you discuss kind of, objection handlers or different things. So cool. I mean, again, my point of this too is to pick these guys' brains and also to give you some insight as to how to handle some of those conversations and to show you kind of what it is that me, Mandy, Josh, Deej do on a conversation as well. All right, Jay and Janine, either one of you, kind of lob it up to you. talk a little bit too about about your partnership with KW, where your business has gone the last 7 years. You know, Jay, you talked about it's totally revolutionized and changed your life. You know, how do you use that in your anecdotal story in conversations with other agents? Because I think some of the most powerful stories are your stories like KG, who was doing maybe $1 million a year before, and now he's doing $8 million a year. Like, those transformation stories from you guys anecdotally is so important.
I'll start. I always started out with my why, you know, why I got into this business. And my why, my first year, was to pay for my son's college without touching his college fund. Like, I wanted to 100% own it myself, just me. I wanted to prove to myself that I could do it. So, I mean, I was thinking, okay, you know, 25,000. Well, then he went to a private school, so then that went up. That was my why. And I thought, if I could just do that, I'm going to be super happy. And 8 years later, significantly, I put him through college on my own, and now I'm putting him through law school on my own. Yeah, I do have a husband. It was just something that I wanted to prove to myself. So I think it's, you know, what my why is, and it's just, it changes every year. And I love to tell people my story, how it, as a woman, it has empowered me beyond belief. As a role model to my family, to my friends, to people that I work with. Anyone can do anything if you put your mind to it. And there are no ceilings, there are no boundaries, there are goals, and no one can stop you. And I just love telling that story. And I love to help people achieve their goals, whatever they are. So it comes from the heart. What's your why? What do you want? And go for it. And I'll say one more thing. When I first started out too, I kept telling Jay, I'm not in this for the money. And I was just so conscious about helping people and all that kind of stuff. And he said, you know what, Janine, you need to change your mindset about this money thing, because, you know, if you have a really great income, you can help people that way through your income. You're going to have more impact through your dollars. And that was super impactful as well. It's like, okay, actually, this is not a bad thing. This is a great thing, and I can help others.
It's money is only good at the good it can do for others.
Right.
And I think in our world, money is such a taboo relationship or a taboo conversation. And we have to do a better job of having a healthy relationship with our money and our finances, so that we know what it is that we want to do. So last year, Janine made $22,000 in profit share. Max is at law school at Marquette University. I don't even think that changed Janine and Bill's life, you know, because of what she's been able to take advantage of and capitalize on. And she has a really healthy relationship with what it is that she wants to do and what the money can do for it.
Mm-hmm.
Jay, how about you, from an anecdotal, aspect of either what the money's done for you or how you've kind of changed your lens and perspective over the last kind of 7 years?
Well, Janine's the heart and soul of JSG, so I'll be the heartless side. What I would just really go back to is what KW has done. When Janine and we worked together for 9 months before coming to KW, and when we came over, it was like, okay, we're going to sell some real estate, the two of us, and then just kind of got immersed in the KW learning. And next thing we know, we're building this team, and I think we did 21 million the last year before coming to KW, and then our business literally exploded that next year. We went from 21 to 38 to 82 to 100 and some million to 200 million last year. And that, and I don't talk about the dollar volume that much with some people, because some people don't want that. Some people, I didn't think I left corporate America to sell real estate, because real estate's my passion, and helping clients protect their largest form of wealth building. I really do. My big why is helping people with their real estate needs, because it is the number one source of wealth building for a large majority of people. So if I can do it right for them, help them buy right, help them sell right, I'm helping people increase their financial security. And again, all of these things that we're doing, having an inside sales agent, having a team, how we structure our team, how we service the agents on our team, none of that is stuff that Janine and I came up with on our own. We listened and learned from the best in KW throughout the country. And that's what's changed my mindset, is now it's how abundant do we want to be in our planning.
Love it. Love it. KG,
And
how
it
about
is-
you? Last
Oh,
one.
sorry.
Yeah.
And it is nice. I do have a little bit of a heart, but it's also nice to sit at a charity event last week with you and Maureen and Rick. And when they had people raise their paddles for, large contributions, the paddle went up because you know what it was? It was the money that JSG has in our charitable fund. We never would have been thinking that way. KW teaches you net $1 million or gross $1 million, net $1 million, donate $1 million. What kind of company has that as their core culture?
Totally. And it was a
And
special
I-
evening.
It was, thank you, yeah.
And I apologize. I have to jump off because I have to go show a property at 11 o'clock.
You go. You're good.
My apologies.
Thanks you for the insight. KG, last one. Tell us, you talked a little bit about your story, and I know your story, right? You were in the restaurant business. You were trying to get out of the restaurant business. You're trying to go into real estate. You were jostling both gigs. He was working different jobs. Then all of a sudden you became the chef, in your church while also doing this job. And then all of a sudden you finally quit all the cooking stuff, went full go in real estate. Talk a little bit about how you use your anecdotal story and how it's changed your life, and the partnership with KW is, and now for all intents and purposes, he has some different things on the side, but is really kind of a stay-at-home mom to your kids and supports you and your vision.
Yeah, that was the goal. And a lot of people I meet in this business, they want to transition out, and 90% of the people just can't cut the cord and go financially, right? I was one of them. So I had a catering business. I worked at the church, and I tried to do a real estate business all at the same time. And then I got to the point where it's like, I didn't have a life. I was always working. I was like, I think I can be good at real estate. I'm at the right place. I set a date. I said, I'm going to March. When was COVID? Was that 2020? March 2020. I said, I'm done catering. I'm done with the restaurant because it's beating my body up. It's rough on you. And you're always gone. And then COVID showed up 2 weeks later. And everybody's like, oh gosh, what do we do? But you know what? KW was there. My KCN team was there. There's doors that open in KW. There's tons of doors besides doing what you're doing now. And they had a plan for me. And they're like, oh, you know what? COVID's here. We're going to pivot. And this is how we're going to do it. And that year when I quit, I did 8.8 million in sales. And I grew a team of 9 here in Milwaukee all in the same year. So what I would say is, you're at KW provides a place, sorry, Koenig. KW provides a place that opens multiple doors besides just selling real estate. One day, maybe I don't want to sell houses. Maybe I want to coach. Maybe I want to, I'm coaching people in multiple states as we speak right now, and I make money that way as well. So there's tons of opportunity. There's tons of doors to open. The culture is fantastic. I remember when I got here, I didn't know what to say. When you're new at I could go into any restaurant in the world and diagnose it and fix it within 30 minutes. I didn't know what to say about real estate. And I remember meeting Jay Schmidt. I remember he's volunteered his time. He would be in the basement teaching people how he grew his business. And like, gosh, I wish I could talk like him one day. I remember thinking that. I still think about it today. I was like, I wish words could flow out of my mouth like him. So whenever he did stuff, I was there. And I'm not quite where he's at today, but I'm getting pretty close. And it's thanks to people like him who give their time back to give us agents and make us better.
Yeah, totally. What I love about it, KG, and I think you're the just a perfect example of so many who get into this business and are trying to straddle two different careers and can't quite cut the cord because they're afraid financially. And your story, and I've seen you share this with recruits. Listen, this is my story. This is what I was doing. I took a leap of faith. They had a plan. Here was the blueprint. Here's how I plugged in. I plugged into the training and education. I plugged into the culture and the community. I plugged into the relationships amongst our community. And your income has essentially doubled year over year for the last 2-3 years. And it's had a major impact on your life. And those are the kinds of stories that when agents say, well, what's KW done for you? I mean, how is that not powerful to say what KG said or what Janine talks about in terms of what she wanted to achieve, or what Jay talked about of leaving corporate America to build the business that he's built? That's, again, you want to use 2 ears, 1 mouth proportionately and listen to what their needs are. And the most powerful stories are your own stories that show what it's done for you in the partnership that we have. Cool. Janine, KG, anything else you'd like to add from just kind of a closing comments or things that,
Yeah, I think if you want to build your downline, number one is having a goal of, what that looks like for you. If it's 4 people for 2022, and then zero in on 6 that you're going to target and go after and converse with and develop a relationship with, and look at it every day, just like you would look at any goal that you have for your business. And then you will start seeing results. Even if it's having an accountability partner for recruiting, that's also a good idea. Jay and I are super competitive with each other, so it helps, like, oh, I've got, it does help to have somebody that you are accountable to. But again, just looking at that list every day and putting those appointments and lunches or whatever it is on your calendar, that's when it's going to happen.
Totally. I think 4 is a great number to chase. If you're looking, where do I start? Chase 4 people. Be really intentional and purposeful in your relationship with 4 people to help them understand the opportunity at KW. And I'll tell you, if those 4 people do north of 3 million each, the profit share opportunity right off the bat is $10,000. I mean, that's what it equates to.
Yeah. And guess what? If that person that you're chasing is not interested, ask them if there's someone in their brokerage that might be interested, and you would be surprised how that may happen for you as well. So don't just stop with that one person. See who else they're working with.
Here's a little script we use all the time. Every successful person needs a plan B. It never hurts to have a plan B and understand the information that's available to you.
Love that.
All right, KG, anything else for you? Kind of closing remarks?
Yeah, I would just say this is a great opportunity to make some money, change lives, and just stay connected with your people. Make sure that they're successful. Yes, there's tons of training and things they could tap into here at KW, and I highly encourage it. However, there's like, for example, Gerardo, one of my newest, came over from Remax. He's never had a listing before. So we created his listing presentation. We got that ready, and I'm rolling with him on Sunday to his listing appointment to make sure he gets that signed. So don't just bring people on and forget about them. Help them grow theirs, because they're ultimately growing yours. And the biggest thing is make sure they're successful. They're still going to have questions that aren't covered just on a Monday or Tuesday training. Just check in with them, be purposeful, and make sure they're successful, because that's what they ultimately came here for in the first place.
Absolutely. And I'll leave you with this, guys. Profit share is cultural. Profit share is cultural. The reason why I say that is KG, Janine, Jay, the reason why they teach, or the reason why they're willing to go on listing appointments and give of their time, is they know that their job, like I see Danny on the screen, their job is to pour into Danny. So if Danny is successful and he raises the level of productivity, they share in that because of the profit share opportunity. And so they're motivated. And that's why the culture is so giving and giving back, because they're motivated by helping a culture of productivity, and productivity equals profit share, where everybody wins. Awesome. I know Jay had to leave, but big shout out to Jay for being on. Janine, KG, thank you for sharing your insights, your approaches. I think it's incredibly valuable. It's the right approach. And you guys have had a massive success in building your downlines and profit share. So thank you for pouring into the group and sharing your insights.
Thank you.
Awesome, guys. Guys, it is Wednesday. Have a phenomenal day. Hope to see many of you at Red Day tomorrow. We're going to have a great freaking day. See you guys.
Bye.